can hear us and everything. So let's get started. So how are you feeling today?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
We're so excited to have you today. So for those of you who don't know who Hertzy is the co-founder of StudentHub. StudentHub is an online platform that increases access to education while students and training. So it partners up with TVET colleges. They provide courses aimed at students with limited resources and physical infrastructure. So so let's get right into it. So Hertzy, about your background. So where did you grow up? What kind of family dynamic did you grow up in?
Oh, great. I mean, I'm originally from the DRC in Congo, it's in Central Africa. And my dad is a medical doctor. My mom is just a businesswoman. So basically, that's the environment I grew up with. So we had about we stayed with quite a large family growing up. So there were about 7 of us kids, and then we also were hosting family members from all over the place. So we had family members from my mom's side and from my dad's side. So it has been a very welcoming family. So that's how probably I got my social, my networking skills, because we grew up with a few people in the house.
So were you born here in SA, or were you born in Congo, then you moved here later on?
Yeah, I was born in Congo. Only came to South Africa about 11 years ago. Initially, I came to study. I actually stumbled upon South Africa. It was not the plan to be here. Originally, I was supposed to go study in Morocco. I had my visa, my bursary, and everything. But then when I was buying my laptop, someone mentioned South Africa to study in English and all of that, because my first language is French. So then I was like, okay, let me just check what South Africa and all of this. And then 2 months later, I found myself here. Meanwhile, I did bursary for Morocco and all that to study English. That's how I got to South Africa.
And then, so your tertiary studies, did that happen here in SA, or did that also happen in, you said you studied here in SA?
Yes, I studied, my university, I studied here in South Africa, but in high school, primary school, for the bulk of it, I studied back home in Congo.
Yeah. And how did you find in university? Were there any inefficiencies that you were spotting, any prominent struggles that you had adjusting to university?
I must say, not really. Funny enough, from the moment, when I started university already, 2 months later, I started a business selling textbooks on campus. So it was really easy for me to adapt and all, make friends. So as I said, I grew up in a very large family. So it was really quite easy for me to connect with people and all. So yeah, it was not really hard. I just joined university. We started to study. Feb, and in April I already had a business selling textbooks on campus. So it was really quite easy for me to and all.
And how was it starting that business? What was the name of it, and what were some challenges that you faced? Was it also the first business that you started in your life, or one of many?
No, back home already in high school I used to sell chickens, right? So when I was
Really?
in grade, yes, when I was grade 10 already, so I was actually selling chickens back home, so eggs and all that, so all the products. And the goal for me was really to create to have a farm, of course, and have a large farm that would be delivering across Central Africa. And then really that's what I wanted to do, selling food and all that. And I started with chicken. So that was my first business, and I failed high school because of that. My grade 12, I failed it because of that, because I was too busy selling chickens. But then when I got to South Africa, so when I got to South Africa, I joined to South Africa, when was that? I got to South Africa in 2009, I think, and I started basically to sell textbooks on campus in 2010, I think. And 2011, early 2011, that's when I got accepted to university. So I started to sell textbooks on campus. So it was called budget books. You used to buy and sell textbooks from students. And of course, a year later, I met Podumo, who was also doing the same thing at UCT, but he had a cool name called Pimp My Book. So I thought like,
Oh, I know my book.
my
Yeah.
book, yes, I'm like, Pimp My Book sounds cool. And then so we decided to just merge and have one large bookstore, and then we just started to grow from there. So that was
And how was
interesting.
that experience?
Amazing. I must say, the bulk of what I've learned really is from that. So I learned
Really?
the bulk of the principles, yes, from my book. I mean, we started trading on tables, of course. So I was trading on tables, actually taking my bed sheet, actually, that's what I was using to cover the table in front of the library. So students
Yeah.
would bring their books, and then I'll say I'll give you back 30. I will get 30% commission and give you back 70% if I sell the book on your behalf. Because students were just putting posters on campus, and I thought maybe there's a better way of doing this. So then that's how I started, and then Podimo was already building shops here, like 2 shops and all. I'm like, so this thing can really grow. It's like, yes. So then we decided, I think my book was growing, and I'm like, okay, cool, let's just merge, let's kill budget books, and then we started to grow. So it was already at UCT and in Observatory in Pero, and I was at CPUT. So then we decided, let's grow. So when we merged, we started to open at Stellenbosch. Within a year, we opened at Stellenbosch University, but it was like a proper store. We opened at Free State University. We opened in Pretoria. So we just started to open shops it was almost every
Yeah.
3 months we were opening shops. So it was quite a great experience because we even went all the way to Polokwane. So I was there opening shops in Polokwane to sell to UNISA students. It's been quite a great experience. It was 4 to 5 years doing that. It was quite great.
Wow, like it really did scale a lot, like in 5 years. And I can imagine it was quite interesting to be juggling academics same time you actually growing like a proper business. It's operating in multiple universities and provinces. So what was like the main challenge that you think that you came across during that time when you were scaling?
Funding. That's probably where I got this thing of bootstrapping. Because the thing is, when growing, it was quite informal, right? What we're doing, and then we did not really understand the dynamics. And mind you, in 2012, investing in startups and all that was not really hot in South Africa at the time. So so in 2012, we were literally bootstrapping. We were using our own cash to grow, loans, of course. And the biggest challenge that we faced was funding. So that's when I learned to convince friends to give you money. So whenever we had to buy books, we needed about R1 million and all. I managed to actually raise some point like 500,000 rand from friends, and then pay it back after 2 months and all this. So it was quite. I had to be creative there, and I really, really cherish those moments because that's where I learned actually how to convince people to give me money. So already when we were trading on campus, one of the challenges was funding, but also convincing customers to trust you because you were sitting on tables and all of that, and then
Yeah.
leave their books with you when you were not buying them, and then hope that you'll sell them and then pay them back. So that was really one of the biggest things. That's when I learned exactly how to persuade people when you're a small startup, how to believe in the dream. And I think I got that really from the early days that in my book. So it was really convincing customers to believe that you can deliver, and then convincing people to give you money, and then you'll give it back to them.
So you seem to have learned a lot from Pimp My Book experience. Like a lot of students know Pimp My Books. Like we all have
Really?
seen it. Like it was that cool store that's by the library. So
Of
it's quite
course.
cool to meet the
Yes,
person who's behind it.
that was the
So from that, so what happened to Pimp My Books? Like how did you move from Pimp My Books to StudentHub Online? Like how did you make that shift?
good question. So basically, from Pimp My Book, basically in 2014, I was battling with this concept of saying that we are making education affordable, but through textbooks. So, and then one of the things as well we're facing, 2014 was when Takealot started to be very aggressive with selling textbooks at a discount. They went almost like an Amazon style. So we're seeing
Okay.
Takealot coming on campus, selling books, brand new books at the price of second-hand textbooks. So it was kind of a wake-up call to us. We're like, guys, it doesn't make sense. And Takealot was busy merging with Kalahari, and then it was just like a lot of noise.
It was
And I'm
a
like,
lot.
these guys have a lot of money. And then they've got the backing of the likes of your Naspers and all that. So they've got more money than us. So we cannot compete. And then back in the day, I remember we just secured funding from a Canadian group, and then they gave us about a bit of cash for us to grow. But then we could not grow. We ran out of cash within a year, and then we were literally stuck. So in 2014 was a pivotal point for us. We're like, guys, we've got all these stores. What's the next big thing? So I remember telling the staff members there, I'm like, guys, we need to go where information is going and all, because information was sitting on paper anymore. So we need to move online. And then people were just like, wait a minute, where on earth, where do you start? I even approached my partner back then. I'm like, guys, we need to move online. We need to try and do this. And we called it study tools. We need to have like study tools where people learn online, not book, because a book is a study tool as well. And they were like, what is this thing of study tool? So the guys did not really understand that. And then I was battling to get them to understand. And then my partner even told me, look, you know what, Hertzy? Our core is really our stores. If we have to grow, we need to really look at how we can sell more things to our stores. And I'm like, no, I don't agree with that. We need to go where information is going and all. So in 2014 November, we decided, look, we were opening in the Free State in Polokwane, and I could not just leave. And I said, okay, you know what, guys? I will take the business until March. I'll open the stores, take us through the peak season, and after that, I'll pull out. Because I'm convinced that I need to move online, I need to do this, but if I cannot take my book with me, I'll start something completely new. So in March 2015, of course, I decided to leave Pin My Book. It was painful. A business that you helped build and all this, and then I was quite connected to all the people there. They were seeing me a leader and all this, so it was quite painful to leave all of that.
I can imagine.
But also the challenge was that I was leaving Pin My Book, and I literally had 2,000 Rand as startup capital. So it was a bit hard. And then I was also saying, look, I'm leaving Pin My Book and I'll give away the car and everything. So I'll literally start from scratch. So that was a painful decision, but I was convinced really that it was the right thing to do. Selling more items through our stores I was not a retailer. And then the StudentHub started. With the first concept was, guys, can we first create study tools to help people understand information better? And the light bulb moment was when I went to Google and I typed failure rate in South Africa university. And the first thing was like, boom, 80%. And then I'm like, 80% failure rate? Like, yeah, lots of students drop out and all of this. And I'm like, whoa, then this is a big problem. And I really, I'm excited when it comes to solving complex social problems. So then I'm like, you know what, I'll tackle this, I'll do this. So then we started to think of study tools that will help students not only make education affordable, but also assisting them with passing their courses and also retaining them, assisting with the dropout rate. And then that's how the StudentHub started. And we quickly realized that for us to do that, we had to become an ecosystem. So that's when, after the original concept was, whenever a student buys a book online from us, then we'll give them all these study tools for free for them to assist tutors and all that. So we'll help you pass that subject. That was the initial concept of the StudentHub when we started. But of course, it evolved to being an entire ecosystem where we give you a full course and with everything that you need, including employment opportunities afterward. But originally, it started there.
So just to backtrack, so it seems like education is something you're quite passionate about, as well as employment. So growing up, was it something that your parents always put on you to be educated, get a job, and also did you experience like a time where you were unemployed or searching for work? Because it seems like you're really passionate about this, and it's kind of.
No, not really. I won't say it's really because of my parents or anything. Mind you, my mom never really completed her university. She stopped at grade 12. She did not even get a diploma and stuff. So my dad, of course, he is very educated, medical doctor and all that. But then it was not really the main driver. I think the main driver, the main reason why I'm so excited about education and all that, it has to do with the reason why it exists, right? At a very early age, already at age 17, I already knew exactly why I was on earth for. That's something that I'm really proud of. So I already knew the reason why I was here. I knew my gifts, I knew my passion, I knew my assignment on earth. So and I mean, as even managed to summarize it, it's really to solve complex social problems through business and technology. And that's really what drives me. I mean, if anything, really, that anything that gets my attention and everything, it has to be a complex problem that affects the social life. And then the thing is, not only a problem, it has to be complex for me to be excited about it. And I thought education, wow, it was complex when I realized that the pass rate was not just because students did not understand. It was a lot more than that. And then even after graduating, students were unemployed. So for me, I'm like, this is a very complex problem. And then for me, if I can solve it through business and technology, because business is sustainable, NGOs and all that are not really. So I do believe that the reason why I master business so well is because it is sustainable. It solves problems in a very sustainable manner, and the technology scales. So I'm like, okay, if it can be sustainable and it can scale, then I want to be involved in it. So that's really why I'm so excited about this.
And so, like I understand you really trying to solve a problem here, and you're really trying to help make education accessible to people. But why the specific focus on TVET colleges? Why specifically that?
Great. That's a good question. I get it all the time. People tell me, why did you not go to universities? Why not high school? And I'm glad that I actually started with the reason why it exists. When you look at the TVET, we looked at it at education. Remember, we used to sell to universities. My background at UCT, at CPUT and all of that, and then opening it in Stellenbosch, UCT, they were just like universities were focusing there. But when we looked at the education sector that was really broken, it was a TVET. So I looked at university, I'm like, university they are still fine. They're not really where they should be, but they're still fine. They've got the funding and all that. But when you look at TVET, it's supposed to be the backbone of the economy, like really having all the artisan and all the entry-level jobs. But then why do we have companies with their own training departments where they train people basic job for basic skills? Really, it means that the TVET sector is failing. And then we really went deep to really dig down in TVET sector. We're like, guys, this is broken, but it has got so much potential. On paper, TVET have got great potential. I mean, the concept, what government has put together, the framework and all that, it's really great. It's just that it's poorly implemented. And we thought, look, if there's so much potential sitting here and it is so broken, we want to start with the hard things. So it was really hard to start with TVET. It took us 3 years to get our first round because we were just trying to figure out how to make this work, So that's really why we started it. It was really broken.
And do you feel like TVET colleges were very accepting to this new type of technology, or to accept, were they adopting what you were proposing? Like, did you find that it was difficult or quite smooth?
Very difficult. I mean, let me give you an example. Let me put it in context, right? There are some TVET we started to speak to in 2016, October 2016. They are only closing now, literally, like now. So literally, it took them like 4 years, 5 years to realize, okay, maybe this is something that they want to engage in. I mean, we spoke to all the 50 public ones because they're quite large, 700,000 students and all that, they're quite large. So we started there, and then, I mean, it was hard just getting people to believe that you can do this. You're a startup, and then they are already being serviced by the likes of your Pearsons and all of that, and all those guys are coming with all sort of solutions, but then those solutions were not really solving a systemic problem. They were just like solving small problems, and we took a holistic approach, really, and then to get them to believe that, guys, this is the way forward, and this is how. It was really hard, but then it took us 3 years. 3 years later, we started to build a name in the TVET space. They started to believe in us. We started to have this, what I call it, thought leadership, really, because we started to even guide them with their own internal processes and all of that before they even start to use our system. We were literally helping them structure things and all of that. And that's when they really realized, no, these guys have really figured out what really TVET is all about. And then they put a solution for it. And then that's when they started to believe slowly. Right now, we almost at 20% market share of TVET, which is quite good for now. Not great, but good for now. And we believe that it will keep growing from there. So it means that they believe in us right now. But it was hard.
So that's quite amazing what you just said about how you're also interested in helping out with their processes. So you didn't just take the approach of just, okay, empowering students, giving them access to education, but you also took the route of also empowering the actual colleges. So could you just speak a bit on that?
Yeah. So when we look at it, as I said, we are called the Student Hub, basically the hub and all that. But it's just because we take a student-centric approach. But our core, really, we are a transaction and innovation platform for all the stakeholders in the ecosystem. So it's an ecosystem that we really have, and we create tools to facilitate transactions between all the stakeholders, really. So that's what we do. So we understand every single stakeholder, from the employers, the students, the parents, and everything. And we've built tools over the years that really helps them transact with each other. So when we say that we are servicing the student, we are providing all the tools that they require from the moment they think of a course to the moment they get a job and all of that. So we provide that, but same with the educational institutions as well. We've taken the same approach to say, from the moment they want to provide a course to the moment they actually get students to graduate from that course, the entire journey, we need to give them to equip them with the tools and all that for them to be able to do it. So that's really why that's really why I say we really empower those educational institutions, to the point where some of them receive even sponsorship from the Student Hub, just because the infrastructure is bad. So we had to literally even invest in infrastructure just to make sure that, look, guys, you are at least at a level where you can use the technology, you can really be part of this ecosystem. So really, that's our approach.
So just to quickly add, if anyone has any questions, pop it into the chat room, and we will get to it soon. How do you feel COVID benefited you? Do you feel like you greatly benefited, or do you feel like it kind of put everything to a halt for a bit? Like, how did you adjust to it? Because it literally came out of nowhere. So yeah.
Yes, COVID has been a turning point for us, I must say. It's almost as if people had no choice but to listen to us. That's what COVID was. But like, guys, you are stuck. You have to listen to us. And what really COVID did, but to be honest with you, COVID has been an opportunity for a lot of educational institutions, right? EdTech businesses. But the thing is that they had to be prepared for that. What really helped us is that for 3-4 years, we're just getting ready for this moment, almost as if we knew one day there will be COVID-19 and all. To the point where when COVID started in March, already by April, we had a long pipeline of colleges that were contacting us, because over the years, we were basically setting this idea of this ecosystem that brings everyone together. And then they were literally like, they were just listening to us, but no one was taking action. COVID was just like the event that triggered action, basically. All of them lining up, say, look, guys, all these things that we've been saying for the past 3 years, now we realize why we needed it. Now let's move and implement. So COVID has just been an event that has created an enabling environment for us to say, look, now people are willing to listen to you. But then if we were not prepared with all the resources that we had to put together, all the tech that we had to build, I really love our platforms that we have built. So all the tech that we had to build and all the partnerships that we already had established to service everyone in the ecosystem. If we did not have that, COVID would have just been another event. Right. But then because we were prepared, COVID has been like that event that really triggered adoption.
So what advice do you wish you'd had, like, during this journey with StudentHub? Like, what do you wish someone had told you earlier, or something you really wish someone had just shed light on, even the slightest bit?
Yeah. I mean, I really wish that someone told me that there will be a year where you will not make payroll for 8 months, and then you will be sitting with half the skeleton team. Yes, I really wish someone warned me about that, because I almost went blind to say, look, guys, let's do this and we'll take it as we go. Until 2017 hit us. Already 2016 was very rough. But 2017 is the worst year of my life. Well, it was the worst year of my life. Yes, I mean, I was at this point of committing suicide, really. It was crazy. Everything was just falling apart. Nothing was working. You get to a point where you are in 2016, in 2017, and I wish someone would have told me that there will be a point in this journey that you will have no product, no customer, and no staff member.
Yeah.
It will just be you and your idea. But then I'm like, okay. I wish really someone told me that earlier. I would have been prepared mentally for that, but I was literally getting prepared as we went. So I was not really expecting that at some point in the journey, along the way, I will actually have staff members sitting there with their families and all of that, unpaid for 8 months. We just did not know. But then people were still coming to the office though, and the core team, they were still coming to office every single day, doing the work and all of that. And I guess the vision kept people going. They really believed in this and all. And then that's really an advice that I wish I had really early on to say, look, guys, but what the only thing that keeps people together really is a vision. I studied business, of course. I studied strategy. We see vision on paper and mission and all that. I never really understood how important and powerful that thing is until we went through what we went through in 2017, 2018. Where some of our lives and all of that, I still have core team members. They are still with us today. But then we went through the roughest time, 8 months, no pay. We just did not know where to go. But people stayed behind. Okay, I lost like more than half of the team, but the rest that stayed behind was just because of the vision. They knew where we were going. They're like, dude, we believe you will take us there. And as long as you keep believing, we will stick with you. We don't care if we only have bread and peanut butter to eat, but then we will be with you until you take us through this. And then that was really powerful. That's when I understood the importance of mission and vision and being a purpose-led organization. The goal was too important for people to drop me. And then I'm like, wow.
Inspiring.
Yes, I mean, it was too important.
That
And
is,
like, it's
that is
too
amazing.
important. Yes, and that's the only thing. I can't really say, I know some people say, but hers is your leadership skills and all that. I'm like, it's not really leadership because I had more than half of the team leaving me. If it was really leadership, I would have known what to do exactly when those people were leaving because we needed them. But then when I went through that journey, I'm like, it's only the people that got the vision, the people that understood why we were doing what we were doing, and whose vision, whose purpose in life were aligned with where we were going. When there was that alignment, those people stayed. Their family members were convincing them to leave. And all of that. So, yeah, I mean, some of them I was negotiating with landlords. I'm like, please, I'm taking over the lease and things like that. It was really hectic, for them to still have a roof. But then that really made me understand why being a purpose-led organization is very important, why a clear vision and a clear mission and a sense of duty really can keep people together when they understand that. And then I'm really glad that they're still here because very soon they'll see the fruit of their work.
Sure. Like, yeah, I'm mind blown. So, okay, so at the end of the day, so you feel that not necessarily that the team was leaning onto you, but the team was leaning onto each other in a sense, like motivating one another because they were standing behind a common vision or a goal.
Correct. And it was more important than their own comfort. They believed in it so much that they say, it's so important. The mission is so important that we are okay with going through this rough time and family telling us to pull out and all. And trust me, I never promised them that they would get rich. I never promised to any team member at the time that they would get rich behind this and all that. That was not the point. All we promised to each other was that, look, we will make education accessible to the masses. We will ensure that students get proper jobs by the time they complete their studies, and we'll fix all these systemic problems where parents throw so much money into this education sector, government throws so much, but no one seems to have an answer. And then it was almost as if, even when you look in terms of skills, the skill gap between our graduates and the workplace out there is so huge, and people were like, you know what, solving these problems is so important that if we can say in 10 years from now that we did this, it will be more important than saying that we managed to buy a house or we were paying our bonds and stuff like that. People lost their houses actually because of the student hub, and I'm like, wow, that shows you how important and powerful the vision is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So let's just get started with the questions. It's actually a lot. So the first question is from Meralda Wu, who says, can you speak a little bit more about how you found the product market fit?
Wow, that's a very good question. Getting to product market fit is a long journey because you really have to understand your market, but even the initial assumption that you had about the market, from the moment you actually bring your product there, the market, basically your customers, start to tell you how they want to use your product. So you had ideas to say, look, this is how they'll use it, this is how they'll use the newsfeed feature, this is how they'll use the call functionalities and all that. And then no, they repurpose the whole thing. And then to get to a product market fit moment, you need to be really agile. And this is why I really encourage any person starting a business to read the book Lean Startup. Mind blowing. Because we have been a lean startup. That's how we managed to achieve this product market fit. Because we never fell in love with our product. We never, at no point we said, look, guys, this is the product, you use it like this.
Yeah.
The market taught us how they wanted the product to be. And that's how we managed to achieve that. It's for the long journey, very painful. Investors had to pay for it, but here we are.
The second question is from Ethan Hoffman. It says, what did 1 month look like when starting StudentHub? The team, the responsibilities, the officers?
1 month.
Yeah, 1 month.
What, like, I mean, the first month of starting the StudentHub?
I assume so, yeah.
Oh, the first month. The first month of starting the StudentHub was quite exciting. I was still painting the walls myself. I had 3 employees. I was painting the wall myself. I was excited, really. I even moved into the offices. By the way, I stayed in our offices for 3 years. It was literally, I did not want to have any other expenses. So I'm like, okay, I cannot take a salary right now. So the office will be my house for 3 years. So I was really excited. The first month, I was still painting the walls myself. I was scared and very, because I did not have a lot of capital, I was a bit scared of hiring people. So I was doing everything myself. I had 3 employees back then, so taking friends to assist with some UI design and all this. So it was quite a bit tight, but then I enjoyed everything because I learned every single department. I was sending to customers myself. I was delivering books myself. I was doing everything myself. So that was for the first month. And then I was really so excited that I literally made the office my house. So that was really day one, the first month of the StudentHub.
So, question from Matthew Schiff. So they say, loving your enthusiasm and focus, Hertzy. Thank you for sharing. I've got 2 questions. First question, please, I'd love to know how you managed to get some of SA's telecoms on your side and bought into your vision. And second, at what stage did you realize that the StudentHub was ready for investment?
Well, when the StudentHub was ready for investment, it's from more than the idea. I'm like, this idea is worth investing in. So I started to invest myself, getting people to invest. So it was at that moment that I knew, look, I'm ready. From the moment I had the idea already, I'm like, I will convince people to give me money for it because this idea was investing for. So there was no stage really to say, now I'm ready to get people's money. Maybe to get venture capital money. That's when we already had a bit of traction in MVP and all that. That was in 2018. That was the first time I actually went out to say, look, I'll get institutional money, really. But then that's the other part of his question. I forgot. He asked 2 questions. So that's the investment
question was, how did you manage to get some of SA's telecom on your side and buying into
what a painful journey to get the telecom. I mean, the MNOs are not really easy to work with. First of all, you're small, you have no traction. That was back in 2017. You're small, you have no traction and all of that. And they've never heard about your company. They've got other projects that are more important. To get their attention to say, guys, back me on this project and all that was quite hard. So what we did though, we had to show some type of traction for them. For the first one was Vodacom to believe in us. We organized, mind you, we did not have money. I went to borrow 28,000 rand. So I went to borrow 28,000 rand in 2017. We organized a conference in Newland, and our head of business development now went there and convinced TVET colleges to come and attend the conference. And then the special guest was Vodacom. And we said, come and see how customers are excited about what we're doing, you know? And then Vodacom is like, really? And then they sent the executive of public sector and all, they sent the executive for technology, education and all that. And they're like, okay, let us see, because these guys have been talking to us for almost a year now. Now they say that they have the customers, and then we need to come and see how excited the customers were. I mean, we brought in 9 TVET colleges, top, like, deputy academics and all that. So they came in, and then we started to show our product and all that. And they were, and then it was not even built. We were showing like screenshots of what we want to build. It was not even built. We did not have a platform. It was 2017. We had no product, no customer. We were transitioning from selling books to providing an ecosystem, no developers. It was literally bad. So I did the UI, and we started to sell Dream. It was a PowerPoint presentation full of screenshots. And then when the customer, sometimes the ATV will ask, so when I click there, what does it do? I'm like, well, it does. I'm looking for the next slide. It does this, you know? And they're like, wow. But it was great. Vodacom, for some reason, Vodacom got excited. And then they're like, wow, people really believe in your product and all that. Great, so we'll back you. And then Vodacom, a few months later, sent us the first contract to say, look, guys, the StudentHub officially is on board as a partner. Not even a vendor, as a partner. I'm like, wow. 28,000 rand, look at what he can do. You know, so we had Vodacom, and then we could now go out and advertise and say, look, if you are with us and all that, Vodacom is our partner, no data, all this. And we could now say that, but then we use the TVET to get Vodacom. You know? So it was really great. But we had no contract with any TVET at the time.
So, question from Eric, guy, says, what was the one thing you did or said that helped folks finally buy into your idea?
Great. The one thing that I said or did, I did a couple of things to make them believe in the idea. So the main thing that made the TVET believe in 2018, that's really when we started and all that, was it was actually a favor. I went in and I heard that one principal was in town, and I'm like, look, I want to see that principal. He has been sending his team here and all that. And then I went to see him with my screenshots. He has never seen my screenshots and all that. He had never seen all that. And I also had an MVP at the time already. It was like 4 months or 5 after we had the workshop with TVET. Yeah. So we were starting now to build that MVP. So I showed him the platform. I'm like, look, this is what it does. And mind you, he literally told me, I'm here for my MBA. I have an hour for you. Join me when I'll be having I'll be having dinner and all that. Then you can tell me about that, because my team told me about the product, but I don't know what it is. So I went in there and I showed him. I look at, these are the screenshots. And then when he finished, like, can I see it? And at least I had something to show. So I'm like, look, you see, when you click here and all, this is what it does, this is the platform and all, and these are students engage with each other. He looked at it, he's like, wow, gentlemen, this is the future. This is what we call the fourth IR. I'm like, yes. He's like, so what do you need? I'm like, a contract. I'm like, I need a contract, you know, to let me do online education for your college. And I guarantee you that all your students will have this. And by the way, I've got the backing of Vodacom. And then he's like, really? Yes. I'm like, yeah, I've got the backing of Welcome and all that. And then he was there with his wife. And then the wife said, Joe, this gentleman is so excited about this thing and all that. Maybe you should set up a meeting for him to meet the team again and consider doing that. I'm like, listen to your wife. I'm like, okay, listen to your wife. So then, of course, then what happened there after that, he said, look, send me a template of the contract. I'll take my team through it. 2 weeks later, I had a contract. I had a contract with the guys. And then when we got the contract, literally the whole team was like, Hertzy, how did you do it? I'm like, I don't know. We have 1 month to set up. January is in a month. It was in November. January is in a month and all that. We need to deliver. And there we're looking at it where it's a team of 13 people. I'm like, how do we deliver on such a huge college and all that? A team of 13 people, and we're literally less than 10,000 right in the bank account. And then I'm just like, guys, but we have our first contract. And I went back to the angel investors and all that. I'm like, guys, look, first contract and all that, I need 500,000 rand, let's do it. They never gave me the money though. But then we just decided, you know what, let's send a team. So that was how we got our first TVET college. It was literally a lot of drama.
So next question is from George Ryan, who says, what are some of the marketing avenues that you found very effective during the initial stages?
I think it was personal selling. We never really advertised. Even now, we only really started to advertise our product in 2018. It was weak. But in 2019, we stopped a bit, and then we started again in 2020 towards the end. So advertising has never been the key driver. It was really a lot of personal selling. We were literally doing one-on-one, me convincing people like that, our team going there, convincing people to get buying, even getting our initial students. I mean, the first time we hit the 1,500 student mark 2 years ago, we literally, it was literally personal selling. We had teams on campus sending SMSs, people were coming to campus, and then we were literally selling face to face. We never believed in advertising really, and our revenue was like growing with personal selling, and it is still a key part of our business today.
So next question is from three questions. So first, what is your revenue model? And how successful are your students in finding employment after your courses? And the third is Wi-Fi and data is not yet widely available, especially in the lower income levels. How do you overcome this infrastructure barrier?
Great. So as I said, on the infrastructure side, we've got the MNOs are really backing us. We're looking at areas in Limpopo, for example, Sekukune, where we've got over 3,000 customers there just in that little region. We are busy setting up. We submitted proposals for towers to be put in there. We showed the income model to the MNOs, and the MTM was like, okay, cool, we will give it a try and then try. So this is our first initiative. But then on campuses, the campuses where we operate really, they even have fiber. It looks like it's rural and all that, but then some of them actually have fiber as well. So the connectivity is still a problem. We take care of the cost, and wherever there's serious infrastructure problem where there's no bandwidth completely, we try, when there's strong concentration of our customers, we have just started now to actually get the MNOs to actually put in the infrastructure. It's not easy to convince them, but if you've got a strong model, and then we've got a couple of things that we offer to them, and they were willing to give it a try. So we are now trying in Sekukune, the Sekukune region, and within the next few months, hopefully, it will materialize. And then the second question was?
Second question was, how successful are your students in finding employment after your courses?
That's a very good question. So we are sitting with a fundamental problem with the courses that we offer. So one of the challenges that we have is that the curriculum that we offer at the moment is so outdated that the team, we have partnered now with a couple of employers and all that, where we are busy upgrading the curriculum. So what we have, because it takes about 3 years before a student can actually go out and then say, I'm going to get employment on the StudentHub platform. 18 months minimum, but at least 3 years, right? So our first cohort really, that did not really qualify for much. They were really like entry-level job. The employer, like the best we can do, like a group like Clicks will say, the best we can do is to actually we've got space for 1,000 till operators if you want. We're like, no, we don't want our customers to be till operators, but for the skills that they bring to the table, that's what they are. So it made us realize very quickly that it's great to make education accessible to the masses, but you need to improve the quality of the education that they receive. So we are in the process of launching our first, because that's our first call was supposed to get jobs like in July 2020, but it was a bit of a hassle with the type of skills that they have. So what we have now done, we are launching what we call Augmented Courses. So this is basically an augmented or an upgraded version of the national diploma that students receive that is a lot more responsive to the need of the employers. So that's what our platform is currently doing the skill gap, and now updating the curriculum to make sure that it's responsive to the need of the employers in real time. So that's our initiative. We're putting quite a lot of capital into it, quite excited about it. So probably within the next few months, we should see. We'll be releasing, first of all, making it available to the masses, all our employers portal. So anyone will be able to join in and take up those courses, because one is still reserved to the TVET student, will be able to take those courses and then upskill themselves based on the needs that the employers require. So that's the problem that we have right now. It's a fundamental problem. We knew we'll hit that, but then it's been quite hard to get our students to jobs that are decent enough for the amount of education that we've given them. So that's to answer question number 2. Where is question number 1 again? What was it?
What is your revenue model?
Oh, well, we've got quite a few. But the top one, of course, the one where student pay us. And then that's the first model where basically we sell courses and student pay us. And then we've got the other one where the education institutions pay us, basically. So those are the two business models. We've got a B2B and a B2C model.
Question from Michael Bart, who says, how many students do you have at any one time? And he says, how big is your team? And does your model require a portion of face-to-face for things like carpentry courses?
Yes. So there's a lot of face-to-face. Let's say it's 50-50, sometimes 60-40. Because remember, we train people to be artisans and all that. So yes, there's a theoretical part, but then we use the workshops on campus for people to do the practical, and then in the process collect the data as well while they're using the equipment on the ground and all that. So we really have a hybrid education model where you learn online, we collect the data there, and then you go and use the equipment on campus, and then we collect the data there too. So some of them we actually have to sponsor when there's no equipment like that. But then that's the kind of thing that we do, so it's hybrid, yeah. And then on how big the team is, it's a team of 160 people. Spread across the country. Yeah, so we've got 160 people. Our main office is here in Observatory. Sorry, not Observatory, we're in Woodstock. We don't get Observatory, sorry. We're in Woodstock. So our main office is here in Woodstock, and we do have teams on campuses. So we've got about 22 campuses with small offices there where our team operates from. But then in total, it's 160 people, and a team of 10 people in India, of course.
Next question is from Stanley. He says, do you have any strategic ideas to diversify from education into another line of business, or will you remain Agi-Centric?
Education is the main thing, right? So we look at education, but also all the industries that actually are aligned with education. So for example, you've got recruitment and all that. So we're looking at the recruitment business line, for example, that piece that is usually not bundled with education, but we really feel like they are really together. So we're looking at education and recruitment definitely as the core of our business. And in education, we look not only in teaching and learning, but in curriculum development, in all those other things. So we diversify within the education sector. So we don't only have the teaching and learning as a way of monetizing the platform.
Hope Mokhale says, what book are you currently reading? And do you have a morning routine?
Yes. Actually, if you want to see me, you should come to Exclusive Books. I won't say which one, but I'm there almost every weekend. Yeah, I make it a point at least to read a book per week, and it's really great. So currently, I'm reading the book that was released in 2021 for Jeff Bezos. It's called what's the name again? I forgot. It's right there. So it's all the letters, Wonder and Dream and Wonder, something like that. All the letters that Jeff Bezos has written over the years. So I'm reading that. I'm reading The Blue Ocean Economy. Really great book that has changed. I'm reading now the second version of The Blue Ocean Economy. I'm reading that. I'm reading the story of Microsoft, how Satya Nadella managed to turn Microsoft from the company that was dying to a company that's now relevant in cloud and robotic and all that. So I'm reading that. I'm currently reading 5 books actually. So I can't read one book. I read like books and all that. Yes, and I'm reading Entrepreneurship 2.0 from Jim Collins as well. Really great book. And I just finished Great by Choice, which is another great book as well that I'll recommend anyone to get. If you're in business, you need to read Great by Choice or Why the Mighty Fall and The Blue Ocean Economy. Great books, amazing books. And also the book from Jeff Bezos, the one released in 2021. I forgot the name. It's just sitting there. I got it a while ago. It's a great book, really full of insights.
And then as for the morning routine.
The morning routine, well, seems like looks like, I won't say I'm a spiritual guy, but I'll say I'm really very connected to my spiritual side, really. So in the morning, without fail, I meditate. That's that without fail. And I feel like when I don't do that, I feel like I'm not prepared for the challenges of the day. To the point where my intuition is so strong. Sometimes I'll be at the office and I'm like, I'll call a few managers and like, guy, this is what is bothering me. This is what I think is happening and all that. We need to investigate. And it turns out to be true. There's a problem there. So I really take meditation very seriously. That's my morning routine. I try and make it a point to only have meetings after 9 a.m. so that I've got enough time in the morning to do these kind of things. Yeah, meditation is the main thing. I used to be excited about running and doing gym and all that, but it's been a year or so that I haven't been there. So I don't do gym and all that anymore, but definitely without fail, meditation is. And on weekends, I only read and do product development on weekends.
To last question from Mita Vanda. He says, do you offer any mentorship to students and or entrepreneurs in the early phase of their startup? And if you do, how do they contact you?
Oh, me personally?
Yeah.
Well, I've never thought of doing that. I feel like I'm not yet at the stage where I can mentor people. So, but then, yes, people come to me for advice. Like people literally with just ideas, literally one person with two dogs, literally. They come to me and say, look, how do I start and all that. Some of them contact me on LinkedIn and then we'll then set up a Zoom call. I'm really like approachable in that sense. So I haven't done that like purposefully. But then I do advise people from time to time when they reach out to me.
Cool. And last questions. How many students do you have at any one time? And you mentioned you have a team in India. I assume they're developers. What are your learnings from obtaining reliable skills cross-border?
Well, I started like 4 years ago to move our team to India, mainly because I could not afford the rates in South Africa. But then also I had really great contacts in India that could help me build the team quite quickly. And we also managed to incorporate the company there quite quickly too. So we have a team probably set up there, like it's another student hub there, but it's purely our devs. It's much cheaper. That's the main reason why we went there. But also it's easy to find talent. The kind of thing that we want to do, it's easy to find talent at a good rate. We have brought a bit of it back to South Africa, especially from a UX point of view and UI and all that, but also architecture point of view. We started to bring some of it back to South Africa as we scale because I won't say we can afford, but yeah, we're at a stage where we can bring some of it in South Africa, but the bulk of it is in India. And finding the right skills, again, it's a vision because that very same team went through a rough time with us. I'm not there present with them, but there's not a single developer. At the time it was 4, not a single of them. Like now we've got 10 of them very committed to the vision and the mission. So finding the skills there, I'll say if you sell a great dream, they'll definitely buy in, especially if there's strong prospect of them exiting at some point. When it comes to students at any given time, it really varies. At our peak, well, let me just give you the total number. For this year, we'll probably be hitting about 50,000 students in total. This year, we've seen quite good uptake. I must say, in February alone, we added quite a bit of students, just over 3,000. No, I'm lying. 5,500 students in February alone, and then already March, we actually adding even more than that in March already across our various business models, of course. So we're really confident that this year we'll be servicing at least 50,000 students by the end of the year.
So it seems we don't have any other questions. But Hertzy, thank you so much for joining us. I